Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you're having a wonderful day, and we are back again with another Fanatics Weekly Review where I go through the top 100 soccer items auctioned over on their platform. As always, if you enjoy these weekly reviews, do make sure to leave a like, helps me, helps the channel, all that fun stuff. But with that said, let's go ahead and swing on over there. So, this week, probably going to be a quick one. I'll go for a personal record here. We'll see how it goes. Starting at $55, which I think is an all-time low. This was generally a pretty lackluster one. There's still some good stuff at the top and in between, but the first page here is going to be a rough one. So we're just going to scroll quick. Anything catches my eye, we'll go ahead and chat about it. We start with some IP autos. There's a lot of IP autos in this auction block, which I thought was weird. Maybe Fanatics is starting to get connected with whoever the person is that's, selling all these IP autos on eBay. I'm not sure. Next to it, Merlin Gold David Beckham for $55. Above it, more IP autos here. A couple here for Marcelo. I don't like IP autos, generally speaking, especially on like modern stuff, vintage stuff. I don't mind it at all. I actually kind of like it. But if I was going to collect any IP autos, like 2014 Prism might be the one for me. But even then, I don't know, it doesn't do a lot for me. Beyond that, this Optic I thought was weird. It's just kind of a shame that red in Optic is numbered to 165, at least in 2022. I don't know if that's still the case, but that's just kind of nasty looking to me. I don't like those random numbers, especially on like a base color like that. Beyond that, we got a Petite PSA 5 for $57. A couple Ballon d'Or Lamine Yamals here. This tops now. We saw this in a recent weekly for like $100 or $200, I thought. So these were pretty low. Maybe the one that made it into the auction block was just a standout way over the top. KDB in-person auto. I can't imagine these people. I mean, I don't know what they're like. I don't know if people find these guys just, casually signing. I doubt they're paying them if KDBs are going for like $60. I mean, how much are you paying them per auto? Like 30? I remember seeing Leaf paid Ronaldinho when they had their contract disputes. They were paying Ronaldinho like $90 an auto for his sticker autos, I'm pretty sure. So 62 doesn't seem great for someone that's still playing and, presumably collecting pretty good checks. Beyond that, Maldini Nanina Gold SGC 3 for $64. Of course, the OG Maldini there. Beyond that, Mega Cracks here, along with a historic ticket Cristiano Ronaldo. People like these. For a 9.5, that isn't a crazy price. I just think CSG doesn't get a lot of love, at least for the time being. They do get a lot of love in Pokemon, but not as much in soccer, unless it's like vintage stuff. Grincha and a PSA 2 for $67. That was a pretty strong price. Those were at one point pretty low. Like, you might have been able to snag one for $20, $30 at times. Beyond that, Suarez from 56. You got a David Villa auto for 69. Beyond that, a Bale for 69. That isn't bad if you just, if you're a Bale guy, $69 for a gold select. I know it's an insert, but still. Keeping it moving, this Julinho, anything sort of like mid-50s and earlier ONB is pretty hard to find. Now, granted, he's not like the most collectible player, but 18 watchers, clearly some people on the hunt there. That doesn't seem like a crazy price. Breakaway Messi here. We have a Breakaway Sun auto, $79. That seems cheap for a Sun, but, the more people sign sticker autos, the cheaper they'll get. Carlo Ancelotti here for $81. Above that, a Heinerle team photo for $84. Haven't seen this before. This was an Artistry Zinedine Zidane, along with a Christian Pulisic out of $49. A purple Pulsar in a PSA 10. This was Levyashin, Heinerle, sort of a classic card, at least in my mind, but that's got a pretty noticeable splotch across the entire card. You would assume that would grade like an authentic, probably. So, 84 for an authentic's a decent price, at least so it would seem. You got a Manga Pulisic, a Manga Phil Foden, along with a Prism Pulisic out of 99. There we go. PSA 10, that's not a crazy price at all for a 10. That assumes a 9 would be less than $30 maybe. So, I don't collect it personally, but still doesn't seem crazy to me. Beyond that, Alex Morgan, the says rookie, I don't know, $86 on that. Diego Luna had a really good game for the U.S. team just yesterday against Trinidad and Tobago. Looking like he definitely will be in the World Cup squad, so a jersey number out of 10, Sapphire Auto, $93. Still respectable for MLS stuff, but ultimately I can see why that would be, priced that way. Purple Refractor, Thiago Silva for $93. It goes to show the people out there hunting chrome colors, $100 for a PSA 10 Thiago Silva out of $250. you're getting some PSA 10 premium for sure, but that seems like a decent price. Kylian Mbappe, Red Blue Wave, 98, and a Lionel Messi white camo for 103. I said white, it's winter, actually. Keeping it moving this row, Refractor Jude Bellingham rookie, 105, and a PSA 10 from Merlin. You have a cubic Balogun out of 20 for 115 and a PSA 10 as well. I'm sure at one point in time that was probably a huge card. Balogun stuff was crazy when he initially joined the U.S. team, and since hasn't done a whole lot. He's not really been great for the U.S. team. Like, he's been good in his small amounts of showing, but, I do presume he would be our starter in 2026, and if that's the case, I actually don't think that's a crazy price. Cubics aren't really my thing, but, maybe if that was a Galactic or something, I might have taken a stab at it. 115 there. You got a KDB Laser Auto here for 117. The Peacock Heung-min Son, this is the first one I looked up. It was the first one that intrigued me at least a little bit, and in terms of the comp here, let me go ahead and grab it. This is actually down a good bit from past comps. So you got 126 here. The last comp earlier this year was 200. Before this, a PSA 9 for 160, a Raw for 120, a Raw for 70, and a Raw for 190. So Raws and PSA 9 were anywhere between $70 and $170. And this PSA 10 is about right in the middle of that. So not basically no grading premium on that, which is, I guess, interesting. It is Pop 1 of 11, so it's not, extremely rare, at least considering the parallel. Red Lukas Sucic, SGC 95 auto out of 10, goes for 126. And then finally, at the top of this page, we have ourselves a Messi with Xavi here in a PSA 10 for 126. You have a 1960s Franz Beckenbauer rookie. I do believe this is 65, or at least PSA classes it as 65. I'm pretty sure this is like a cutout of some sort. It's not like a typical release, so it's a little bit of an afterthought, I guess. But SGC 5 goes for 132. 2007 Monday Chromo La Fichas de la Liga Security. Lionel Messi PSA 9 goes for 144, and that finishes us off for the first 48 of this auction block. As you can see, pretty lackluster in terms of the first 48. There will be some high prices, some pretty notable cards towards the top of this, though, I can promise that. The Grail Erling Haaland goes for 150. I looked this one up because the Grail has always been something that actually sticks out to me in Modern in a world where nothing does. Like, it's a pretty manageable but semi-difficult, I guess. I mean, it's semi-difficult in the sense that it costs money. You can actually find them selling fairly often, but this is sort of a set of 9 different cards that are in different releases that are fairly rare, and if you put them all together, they make like a trophy in the background, and it's just like a fun little thing, I guess. In regard to this, there's a lot more of these that have sold. The problem is it's number 9, and basically all of the listings have 9 of 9 or something like that, so there's a lot of 9s in it, so I had to put Stadium Club in here to go ahead and get what I wanted. I just messed it up, but so we're not seeing anywhere near all the comps. We're just seeing a few, and it sort of has them staggered. So you can see what they were back in October 2023, September 2023 initially when they came out, $300 to $400. Now they're closer to 150. So clearly not really doing a whole lot. And they haven't been much lower either. It's not like they're moving up from a relative low. It seems like they're just slowly and steadily kind of dropping, which is interesting. I mean, it kind of makes sense, I guess. I think a lot of the times for stuff like this, these sort of novelty, build a set of 9 type of things, there's usually a lot of excitement for it the year it comes out. And the next year, there's another player to go after. And the next year, there's another player to go after. And so people kind of just go with the wind and find the next one, right? I personally didn't enjoy when these came out because the people, or at least some of the people putting them together, almost wanted to be rewarded for putting them together. Like they wanted some sort of prize. And they eventually, the tops actually did end up making a prize for Ronaldo the next year. So they actually did go with it. But from my point of view, it's like the cards are the thing you want in theory, or at least that's what I thought. So to buy the cards and then to want something that isn't the cards for buying the cards just feels, kind of inauthentic, inorganic. I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way, but I mean, I get it. Ultimately, the cards themselves not doing a whole lot over the last couple years since the inaugural release of them. Beyond that, Jude Stadium Club Chrome, 150 for the refractor. Out of 50, Topps Crystal Premium. That's rough. So there's Topps Crystal, now there's Topps Crystal Premium, and it's a throwback Messi. I mean, ultimately, an out of 50 black PSA 10 Messi for 150 sounds cheap, but when you consider it's crystal, it's a throwback card, I sort of get it. I mean, it doesn't really do a whole lot for me, but Of course, I'm just one man. 1990-91 Panini Foot Eric Cantona, PSA 8. PSA 8 going to be a pretty good grade on that. Pop 1 of 2, none higher. Of course, there are more out there, but PSA 8 still will be good. Typically, you might see some 9s, maybe the odd 10, but an 8 is still going to be solid. You have another one here. This is Topps Merlin Chrome, the Grail Holland. This goes for 162. The other did 150. I will say these are also raw, and at this point, a couple years beyond their release, you would assume they might not be the best condition, so I'm sure that doesn't help their pricing, but this one's relatively the same as the other we just saw. Nico Williams out of 75, Fuchsia Lava. I mean, gosh, man, the parallels are just, they make me disgusted, but just me. Fuchsia Lava, if that's your thing, hey, go ahead. One out of 6 there for the pop, none higher. So, I mean, I guess it's rare. Pop 1 of 6. 2017 Select Cristiano Ronaldo out of 299, PSA 10 for 200. PSA 10 doing a little bit of work there, but you know, people like to select this sort of the base terrace select, and out of 299 is as high as you're going to see in terms of parallels for select at that point in time. Beyond that, 2017 Andres Iniesta, PSA 10 auto for 198, pop 1 of 9. And then you have this red wave refractor Neymar out of 10, PSA 10 for 198. I thought that, I mean, it seems actually fair. So I'm not saying like it was a cheap price, a super steal or anything, but if you look in this row, I mean, to me, I would really want the Neymar. I know it's red wave and people don't like the waves as much as the base red. I get that, but you know, that does a lot more for me than a base Iniesta auto or an out of 299 Ronaldo. But again, I'm just one man, and it is the least watched in this row, so maybe that says something about it, or I don't know. Take it for what it is. Paul Pogba Kaboom, PSA 10 for 252. You got Alex Ferguson, 1968 John Barr Productions. I've never seen one of these. Not too familiar. Pop 1 of 1, none higher. Gets a decent price. Obviously, Alex Ferguson, cult hero. And you're going to see decent prices for good stuff of him. I'll have to throw this one in the mental bank for later. 252 on that. Imperial Calcio Pele PSA 2 for 300. I don't believe I looked that one up. I did not. We'll look it up now just because I am curious. This is actually up from the last sale, 264, around where they've been for the last, you know, maybe year or so. They were pretty expensive at one point in time. Yeah, like 700, 600, 800. They were a good bit more expensive back during the sort of vintage booming days. A little cheaper now. It's always been a sticker I really like, but gets a decent price, but not a crazy price by any means. This was one I haven't seen yet. This is the 2024 Topps Chrome MLS Let's Go PSA 10 for $300. You know, I don't know if it kind of moves if you have it in hand or anything, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just so opposed to modern that it's going to be hard to woo me, but that does not woo me personally. But again, just me. 2006 PSA 9 Cristiano Ronaldo, first World Cup for him. That goes for $300. And if we look here, I mean, decent pricing overall. Let me zoom out just a smidge. You can see that this is up quite a bit over here, $377. And we're looking at $217 at times, as low as $175. So it's up almost double from the all-time lows. Then we have a 2018 Superfractor from the EPL Topps Chrome release of Jamal Lascelles. I'm not sure. I've never heard the name, to be honest. Apologies to the Newcastle fans out there, but $312 seems like a decent price for, at least to me, what would seem like a no-name. I'm sure to some it's meaningful. It does have 24 watchers, so there's definitely people out there looking. Some more IP autos here. Erling Haaland Topps Now from 2019 goes for $324. You have a Color Blast Vinny for $372 and a PSA 10. I have seen some pictures of the Color Blast, like in person. They look a little better than I would have thought. If you get the light on them, they shine pretty decent, but $372 on that PSA 10 for the Obsidian Color Blast. 91-92 foot George Weah. It says rookie. It's not a rookie. PSA 9 goes for $396. I would imagine the rookie claim might help a little bit, but you never know. There probably are just people that want to collect George Weah. He's got 43 watchers on here, so clearly people were interested. But I believe his true rookie goes for like $1,000 in a PSA 9. At least it did before. I don't think one's sold in a while, so it might go higher at this point. But 40% of his rookie for, I believe, a third year Weah doesn't seem all too shabby in my eyes. It is also a pop 1 of 1, so, you know, if you're collecting him, you kind of got to do what you can at this point in time if you want one. Lukaku PSA 10 Gold Prism for $408. I thought this was a pretty decent price if you're a buyer, if you're a Lukaku fan, or just someone to put together some gold prisms. I mean, a PSA 9, this would assume a PSA 9's $150, you know, somewhere around there. And so, I mean, $150 isn't a crazy price for a PSA 9 Gold Prism Lukaku. You'll see sort of, you know, random players almost go for those prices at times. So I think that was a decent deal if you're a Lukaku fan. or again, just someone looking to put together gold prisms. UK Traditions Messi. This is 2006 at this point in time. The slab says 2004. It goes for 408. Those have been stagnant at like 400 to 500 for a long time at this point. This one also around the same price as the last sold. That's the 2001 Foot Zlatan, the EA Sport FIFA. PSA 9, pop 1 of 11, one higher. In terms of prices, you can see 456 was the prior sale about, 8-9 months ago. Before that, 680. You had a 630 sale, you had a 1300 sale, and then a 990 sale. So ultimately, as we sort of know, when these sticker pops boom, I always just warn to be careful at the beginning because you might be excited to get them, and I understand if you just want the sticker really bad, I get it. But if you're looking at it from a price point perspective, when there's 11 of them graded and the first couple are going for 900 to 1500 around there, you can kind of assume more are going to come to market, and they're probably not going to go higher, and seemingly it hasn't been the case. I don't know how many of these are unique stickers, so I don't know if it's 6 different ones or maybe a couple have resold a couple different times. I don't know. But ultimately, not like a terrible price. I mean, it's around where they were, which, given the circumstance, not bad. That's sort of a beloved sticker set within pre-modern. Above it, a multicolored Lamine Yamal PSA 10 for 432. You have a PSA 9 Messi for 444. Which I did not look up, but you can probably assume it's up like the Ronaldo was. The Ronaldo's up almost double from the all-time lows. I would guess the Messi's around the same. The Messi's a good bit higher, about a 40-50% increase in price. Part of that being, you could say Messi's the GOAT. Ronaldo's the sub-GOAT, I don't know, but also Ronaldo has 2004 Portuguese releases, while Messi, this is his first Argentina year. So there is a little bit of a premium placed on Messi for that reason. Beyond that, a Color Blast Jude Bellingham PSA 10 for 528 in the England kit. Then we have another IP auto here with a 540 price tag on this Topps Allen Ginter Pele auto, along with a Maradona PSA 1 Estampe Boss from 1978. This is about the price they've been. They've held fairly strong. The Estampe Bosses have held stronger than the crack 1978 Maradonas, which I can sort of understand. They're a little more rare. In the crack set, there's also 2 stickers. This is only 1, so, I can see that, but I'm pretty impressed by them, generally speaking. This one is decently centered, looks like a pretty clean copy. The colors are okay. I wouldn't give it an eye appeal sticker, personally, but I think it's pretty close. It's like teetering, because some of these are really bad. Next to it, another IP auto here, Cristiano Ronaldo, 600 on a net finders here. That's sort of an eyesore for me. Like, some cards like this Pele Topps Allen Ginter, I like the IP auto. This one just, like, it goes across him, it goes across the net finders. It's just, I don't know. Not for me, but nonetheless, 2022 Qatar Pele Panini Prism World Cup PSA 9 auto goes for 600. I know it's sticker versus IP auto. I'd be interested what you think. I mean, $100 more for a Panini Prism World Cup auto. I'd probably rather pay the 100 more, but I could also see someone saying, this is a better looking auto. It's on card. I'll take this one, and so I can sort of see it both ways, to be honest. Next to it, 2023 Select Black Field Level Gavi. PSA 9 goes for $690. I took a look at this just to see if one had sold before, and there actually has been a sale of the same one before, which was last year on eBay on a best offer for $925. So down a little bit from there, not crazy, but, a 25% haircut, which, given the circumstance, best offer on eBay is always going to do a good bit more than selling on auction generally, so I can sort of see that making sense. 2014 Lionel Messi sticker auto for $720. This is a sticker that is autographed, not a sticker auto, I guess. It's on sticker. I don't know. $720 there though. Again, seems like a decent price considering someone clearly has access to Messi. I don't know if Topps does, but someone does, and it's such a weird position where the manufacturers are having a hard time getting Messi's legitimate autos, but then it seems like someone else is getting his IP autos. But then at the same time, I'm like, man, if you can't trust the manufacturer autos at times, can I really trust these? I'm pretty sure this says Beckett witnessed. But again, like, can I trust Beckett? I don't know. I mean, probably, but it's just, I just don't feel good. Anyways, 2022 Leaf, you got Cristiano Ronaldo and Pele, and then you got Erling Haaland, then you got Phil Foden, then you got Darwin Núñez, then you got Vinicius, and then you got probably some other people on the back. Nonetheless, $750 for that collage of different sticker autos. A couple more IP autos here, $780 on this Holland 2019 Refractor, along with a Messi 2014 Prism for $810. See, that's an example. I'd definitely take the Prism for $100 more than the sticker auto if I had to choose. Although, to be fair, I mean, I do like World Cup stickers too, so I could see that making sense. But this looks a little cleaner. This is like over his face and his neck, and it's just, it's kind of rough. Above it, post-playing career, post-mortem, Diego Maradona, case hits going for 840. I'll never understand it personally, but I get it. I guess I understand that there must be demand. I don't understand it from my personal perspective, but again, I'm just one guy. Pop 1 of 9, 840. Next to it, I'd definitely rather take this. Like, you give me the option of a post-mortem color wheel Diego Maradona or 2024 Di Maria and Messi gold connections. I'll take that. I think that was a decent deal, at least relatively. Of course, given how their 2022 World Cup went, that's a pretty memorable card, at least in my eyes. Of course, this is Copa, but nonetheless. Blue Erling Haaland under 1,000 here at 960, which is actually up a little bit, but I closed it, apparently. I did look it up last night. These have been as low as like 650, 750 at times, so up a little bit from the all-time lows, but these at one point in time were definitely like multiple thousands for sure. So they are down, but they are up a smidge, so take it that way you will. Sold the game, Harry Kane, 960 on this one. That's the same price or about the same price as the last one of these went for. There was an Emerald out of 5 that was in a PSA Authentic slab that sold a couple years ago for about this price. And this struck me as a fair price given what the last sales were. I did see pre-boom, like back when this came out, Harry Kane sold the game stuff was like 50 to 100 bucks most of the time, but granted at the time Harry Kane wasn't the goal scorer that he ultimately became to be, so I can sort of see it. I thought this was still a relatively decent price if you're just a sold the game collector. Pretty fun, flawless subset, at least in my eyes, and you don't get many of them cheap at all. Like, there are even non-auto just boot patches that go for like 100 to 200 to 400 to 500 bucks depending on the player, so I thought this one was a pretty cool one. Golly. Breakaway Mbappe gold out of 10 for 1,100. Did look this one up, and this has not been good. Last comp was 1,000, 1,200. This is a PSA 10 for 3,000, PSA 10 for 4,000. Sorry, that's Murozon, where we get 4 straight auctions of the same one, so apologies. I guess it's not my fault, it's theirs, but it's just disgusting. Last year, 2K for BGS 9. Before that, 3.5 for PSA 9. Before that, 4.5 for PSA 9, 3 for PSA 9. So the PSA 9s, BGS 9s have been anywhere from 2 to 4 at their highs. This one goes for 1,100, so seemingly just kind of keeps falling. We have a black laser Lamine Yamal PSA 9 that goes for 1,400. That's a little bit more palpable. We saw a PSA 1010 that went for like 20K on Golden recently, which you would assume is either shilled or just misinformed purchasing. Could be either, to be honest. But nonetheless, 1,400 on that PSA 9. Above it, a Lamine Yamal out of 75. Rookie auto goes for 2,100. Again, Lamine Yamal craze is still full-blown. I mean, we are still in the midst of it, which is super surprising, at least considering I guess I'd be terrified to see what would have happened had he won the Nations League. Yeah, I have no clue. I thought him not showing up, at least in the final, and ultimately probably not winning a Ballon d'Or, I would have thought it would have done something. Seemingly, he's still going strong. I just always wonder, we got another few more months until the season starts again, so there's going to be seemingly a lull. And then he has to do something next year. He's got to win a Ballon d'Or or win a World Cup or something like that. If he doesn't do either of those two things, I don't see how his price is maintained. I mean, he's a fun watch. He's a fun player. Don't get me wrong. But like 2,100 for an out of 75 PSA 9 auto in a world where he has tons of autos, tons of rookies. It's rough, man. I mean, look, this is a Messi on-card auto. I know it's actually even Topps Chrome Orange out of 25. Like, that's seemingly a fairly important card, at least to some extent. I know it's MLS, but like, you could get a Messi on card out of 25, out of Topps Chrome with a 10 auto, PSA 9 card, whatever. This is a PSA 9 card too. So you're getting a better auto grade, a better auto, to be fair, to Lamine Yamal's auto is pathetic. And you're getting a rarer card from almost an equivalent set, I guess Topps Chrome UEFA Euro versus Topps Chrome MLS. I mean, given the player, I just feel like I take that Messi every single day of the week. I might even take the Aubameyang, and I'm not even like a 2017 Chrome collector or anything. I just feel like, a super from 2017 Chrome compared to this. Like, and, you can call me a hater if you want. I'm clearly not. I just am not a believer at these prices. And if you are, hey, more power to you. But it just it makes me a little nervy. But the one of one Abominang at $22.50 here. Didn't have any comps on that. I tried to look, but it had not sold before. You got an orange messy chrome here for $2,300. A lot of his, I guess, MLS chrome autos from that year have been around $1,500 to $2,500. Granted, this is one of the more rare with decent grades, so it's going to be a little higher. Generally, I think that they've been fairly strong, but not like moving upward. I think they've been strong and dipped a little bit. I guess I say strong, meaning they just haven't fallen much. Like, some of them have fallen a little, but ultimately they've been around the same prices for the golds, the oranges, and even the greens at times. So just wanted to make note of that. Above that, some more IP autos. I mean, $3,300 for a Messi Ronaldo duel. I sort of can understand it, maybe, kind of. I don't know. I do wonder one day if like these guys stop signing. I mean, it seems like Messi already has, but I wonder if that becomes reality at some point. And then if it did, like this would be a great sticker. But at the same time, they're both presumably going to be alive for a long time, and you might be able to get these for decades to come. So it's always something to be considerate of. Next to a PSA 5 71 bis for $3,600. We'll take a look at that. There was a massive sale for a 71 bis to top this auction block. And I gotta go ahead and zoom out again, but this is what the chart's looking like here. Definitely up quite a bit. Not the high in terms of the last 2 years, but it is up 63%. The all-time low for a 5 was about $1,900 back in July of 2023, a couple years ago. And now we're looking at, close to 4 at this point. So almost up double from the all-time low. I say all-time, sort of a relative low over the last couple of years. Zebra Select Lamine Yamal for $5,500. I did look at this. The only other comps you could really find was a PSA 10 in March for $2,200, at least for a PSA 10 card. There were some raws for anywhere from $570 to $1,200 before that. And then top row for this week, we start with the 2022 NT patch. This was a rerun, which initially had sold for $15K. And I remember thinking, like, that's a crazy price. It doesn't make a lot of sense. 8.4 seems a bit more palpable. It's still strong, at least compared to where these, I guess, are for other grades. Like a PSA 9 here went for $2,500. I think that's a different sort of patch window and a different sort of card, but you get the idea. I mean, it's still a comparable card. That went for $2,500 in a PSA 9. And this Messi goes for $8,400 in a PSA 10. There's a lot of NT in here. Some of them, or a decent amount of them, are actually on cards, so that would be the preferred style, of course. This being a sticker auto with player worn, game worn. It is match worn. Okay, so it's got that going for it, but still sticker auto. I think people would rather have an on card auto with a player worn patch rather than a sticker auto with a match worn. At least that's my sort of. At least how I see it and how I feel like other people are seeing it. I could be wrong. Let me know down below if you think differently. And then the last two here, we go with a Select Gold Mojo PSA 10 Lamine Yamal out of 10 from Select 2023. And in terms of comps, PSA 10 recently did $4,800 in February. This one does $9,300. And even before that, there was a PSA 10 back here for $2,500. And even before that, it was $1,800. So, $1,800, $2,500, $4,800, $9,300. How high can we go? I don't know. Maybe that's the high. Maybe it goes higher. Maybe we go 15, 20. Who knows? But it seems like a decent price, at least, again, from my POV. And finally, topping this auction block at a super strong price point is a PSA 8 71 bis. That goes for $15K. I want to look at it just to see if, like, maybe was it a newer graded cert? No, it's 41 million, so it's not crazy. You can kind of see some, like, edge wear up here, like some decent sort of, like, indentation up there at the very top right. Working our way around the card. Decent bit of whitening down here. I do wonder, like, I think at best this is getting an 8 based off what I've seen just from here without even, like, seeing the surface. PSA is super strict on this nowadays. Presumably because they don't want to be on the hook for some of this stuff, but I don't know what that is on his chin. I guess you would hope that that's on the slab, but you don't know. And beyond that, I mean, a little bit on the corner down there. Ultimately, doesn't look like a strong 8. I was wondering if, like, maybe this was like a crack and resub candidate, which would be a scary proposition, but it looks like an 8's a kind grade, if not a fair grade. Goes for $15K, and in terms of comps, up a lot. This one is up a lot. Over the very last one that sold a week ago for $9,600, that was already the relative high. So over the last 2 years, the relative low was $5,400, and 5,500, and this is 15K. So it is up, almost 200%. We got 170 over the last 2 years, and just a massive growth there. Now, it does seem a bit inorganic, but I guess the way I'll go ahead and sort of justify it, there was a Instagram account by the name of the Real 27 guy. I think that's what his name is. His name's Adam, I'm pretty sure, and he's like a basketball guy for the most part, but he does a lot of promotion for these auction houses. I'm pretty sure they come to him with a card that they want him to make a reel on, and he sort of talks about why the card's underrated and why you should go buy it. And this was the card that he talked about this week. And he doesn't do a lot of soccer. I don't think I've ever seen him talk about soccer before. So it probably got some crossover people into it. I'm sure they're seeing what's going on with different grades. If you do look, the PSA 9s are up massively over the same time frame, up 142% from 22K to 55 at the moment. So, it's not that crazy. The 7s aren't up a lot. Those are only up 56% from 3,600 to 5,600. So, the 7s haven't moved. You sort of wonder now, are the 7s the next to move? I don't know. But ultimately, pop 124 on that one. PSA 9's like a pop 50, pop 52, and the PSA 7's a pop 126. So, interesting stuff. Really high sale. Really... I never know if this type of stuff's good. When prices are soaring, everyone's inclined to say this is good for the hobby. I think it does, validate our beliefs a little bit more that soccer's here to stay. But at the same time, a price going from 9.6K to 15K in a week time frame, I never really know how to feel about that, especially if it was sort of based on a pump by an Instagram user. So ultimately, that is where we call it for this week. I'll look at next week, and just a warning, I don't think next week's that great either, especially on the high end. I could be wrong. We start with the blue Kylian Mbappe PSA 10 along with the Lamine Yamal auto. This messy one-of-one Topps Museum with a pretty nasty looking auto, if you ask me. PSA 8 Maradona Calciatore, PSA 10 2008 Mega Crash, you got a Kaboom, PSA 10 Kylian Mbappe, but yeah, nothing crazy, at least compared to this week. And, I never really know how to take that. Some people are disappointed when they see weeks like this where there isn't really anything that sticks out to them, but at the same time, I think that gives people some time to maybe build up more funds and go after cards a little harder than maybe they might have before. So, there's a good side of it, there's a bad side of it. 179 will be next week, and then 180 will be a big one for vintage and pre-modern and all that good stuff in the coming weeks. So that is it for me today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. As always, if you did, again, make sure to leave a like. Anything you thought sold high or low, maybe something you snagged, would love to hear about it in a comment below. And if you want to see more videos like this as soon as they go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.